Have you ever started a K-drama that seemed full of promise, only to find yourself regretting the time you spent watching it? Well, 2025 has already delivered a few of those frustrating experiences. While some dramas this year have been truly amazing, others have completely missed the mark, leaving viewers confused, annoyed, or just plain bored. Today, we're diving into the most disappointing K-dramas of 2025 so far. These are the shows that had hype, big names, or unique plots, but still ended up falling short. Stick around till the end, because the last drama on this list might genuinely surprise you. Let's begin with Motel California. This drama looked like it had everything it needed to succeed. The story follows Ji Kong, played by Lisa Young, a woman of mixed-race heritage who had a tough childhood in a rural town where she was often judged and discriminated against. She eventually leaves, moves to Seoul, builds a successful life, and then returns to her hometown, where she reconnects with her childhood love, Chon Yan-soo, played by Na In-woo. With a setup like that, many expected a heartfelt love story between two people with a shared past mixed with serious social themes. Instead, what we got was an exhausting viewing experience. The main character, Ji Kong, comes across as constantly angry and bitter. She shuts people out, blames others for everything, and seems to be stuck in a loop of the same negative behavior over and over again. Viewers quickly grew tired of her attitude and lack of growth. What made things worse was the plot itself. Every time something hopeful happened, the show would immediately follow it up with more misery. There was no real balance, just wave after wave of misfortune, making it hard to stay emotionally invested. Joyful moments were rare, and when they did come, they were quickly crushed. There was also very little character development, making the entire show feel flat and repetitive. For a drama that had the chance to explore deep issues like identity and acceptance, it ended up being monotonous and, ultimately, a huge letdown. Next up is The Witch, which also had a lot of potential. This drama centers on Park Mi-jang, a woman who is socially rejected because mysterious tragedies seem to follow her wherever she goes. Played by Ro Jong-yui, Mi-jang becomes known as a witch, even though there's no real proof of anything. Supernatural. This draws the attention of Lee Dong-jin, played by Jin Young of GOT7, who sets out to investigate the incidents and try to prove they're just coincidences. Many viewers expected the show to dive into serious topics like social defamation, false accusations, and how society can destroy someone's life based on fear and gossip. And in the beginning, the drama seemed to be heading in the right direction. But soon after, the story starts to slow down. A lot. The lead characters barely interact for a good portion of the series. There's a heavy focus on past events and very little momentum in the present, and then things get uncomfortable. Dong-jin, the male lead, starts collecting detailed information about Mi-jang without her consent. He shares it with his colleagues and invades her privacy in ways that are never really addressed or punished. The show tries to frame it as love, but many viewers saw it as obsessive and creepy. To make it worse, the show introduces a supposed connection between the two characters from their high school days, but then contradicts itself when they behave like strangers. The inconsistency made it hard to take the plot seriously. Mi-jang, who should have been the emotional center of the story, slowly becomes a background character in her own life. The focus shifts more and more toward Dongjin's actions, while her inner struggles remain barely explored. In the end, the narrative loses sight of its initial message. The drama promises to find the truth behind the strange events in Mi-jang's life, but most of them are left unresolved. Even worse, the final episodes feel rushed, making viewers wonder if the production team just wanted to get it over with. What could have been a thoughtful, meaningful story about stigma and strength turned into a slow, confusing, and unfulfilling drama. Another major disappointment this year is Check-in Hanyang. This historical drama started in December 2024, but aired mostly in 2025. Set in the Joseon era, it follows 4 interns working at the kingdom's most luxurious guest house. The characters all have unique reasons for being there. One is actually a prince in disguise, played by Bae Hyun-wook. Another is a woman pretending to be a man, played by Kim Ji-yoon, aiming to become the general manager. Then we have the heir to the guest house who doesn't even want the job. And finally, a young man working to support his struggling family. With that kind of variety, viewers expected a fun story filled with growth, teamwork, and romance. However, that's not what the show delivered. Instead of focusing on the character's journey at the guest house, the drama quickly shifted to palace politics and the dark history of one specific character. The light and comedic moments were pushed aside, and the tone became heavy and serious. The plot dragged, and many fans said it became predictable and dull. On top of that, the romantic storylines felt forced, and the main leads had very little chemistry. Cute moments were few and far between, and the characters barely developed meaningful relationships. By the second half of the show, many viewers had already dropped it, calling it slow, repetitive, and forgettable. Now let's talk about Ho's Diner, which recently finished airing in April. This show had a quirky, exciting premise. A food critic from the Joseon era accidentally travels 400 years into the future and ends up opening a restaurant in modern-day Korea. The drama also featured two popular K-pop idols, Schumann from EXO and EXI from Cosmic Girls, as the main leads. With such a fun concept and a high-profile cast, expectations were sky-high. Unfortunately, the reality didn't match the excitement. Schumann's character, who was supposed to be brilliant in his own time, suddenly becomes clueless in the modern world. The show leans too hard into awkward humor, with exaggerated scenes that feel more cringy than funny. Schumann's acting was also a major talking point, for the wrong reasons. Many viewers felt his expressions were stiff, his delivery was unnatural, and he didn't seem fully comfortable in his role. That made the comedic moments feel even more forced. Sadly, Exi's character didn't improve things either. Her decision-making throughout the show often didn't make sense, and her personality felt inconsistent. Add to that a supporting cast of characters who seemed lost most of the time, and you've got a recipe for disaster. One example that annoyed many viewers was the police officer who seemed to be the only one responsible for the entire city's security. Just one of many signs of lazy, unrealistic writing. This show had a cool idea, but the execution made it feel like a waste of potential. And now we come to perhaps the biggest disappointment of all, when the stars gossip. This drama had one of the most exciting setups of the year. A space romance, starring Gong Hyo-jin and Lee Min-ho, with a huge production budget and even an original soundtrack song by BTS's Jin. The story followed astronaut Eve Kim and space tourist Gong Ryong, who meet at a space station. Viewers were intrigued by the setting and expected a unique and emotional romance in space. But by the third episode, people were already feeling let down. The chemistry between the leads wasn't there. The space environment, while visually interesting, wasn't used in any meaningful way. The show didn't explore the possibilities that came with such a unique location, but what truly upset fans was the ending. Throughout the show, people expected a heartwarming conclusion. Instead, the series ends with Eve dying during childbirth, in a sudden, devastating scene. Viewers were shocked. The emotional whiplash of going from soft romantic moments to a dark, painful ending left many feeling betrayed. Even one of the cast members admitted that the ending was upsetting, although she stood by the producer's creative choice. Unfortunately, that explanation didn't sit well with most fans. What was marketed as a gentle, uplifting love story turned into an unnecessary tragedy and left many viewers calling it the worst K-drama of the year. So there you have it, some of the biggest letdowns of 2025's K-drama world. These shows had promising ideas, star-studded casts, and even unique storytelling opportunities. But instead of becoming fan favorites, they ended up frustrating viewers and missing the mark. Whether it was bad pacing, poor character development, or just plain confusing plots, each of these dramas fell short in their own way. Have you watched any of these series? Did you feel disappointed too? Or did you actually enjoy one that others disliked? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and share it. Watch this next video to discover the K-dramas that did live up to the hype in 2025.